Good morning. I want to share the Bible with you, chapter 15 of Isaiah. It says, the burden of Moab. Because in the night Ar of Moab is laid waste and brought to silence. Because in the night Kir of Moab is laid waste and brought to silence. So it sounds like the Assyrians are coming against Moab. The prophecy is in 726, it says. So it was before this prophecy that was in chapter 14 and on back. So it was at an earlier time. But Moab is one of the countries on the other side of Jordan, the Jordan River, from Israel. And it's down, actually Sodom and Gomorrah is right in the territory of Moab. So that's interesting, isn't it? And then Ammon and Moab are both countries over there. And Israel went into Israel, captured the land between Ammon and Moab, and went into the land of Israel when they crossed the Jordan River and went on in. And before that, they captured the land that was on the sides of the Jordan River on the eastern side. So Moab was a country that God wouldn't let them conquer, even though Moab wouldn't let them come through to get over into Israel. He wouldn't let them conquer. Moab was one of, and Ammon were started by Lot's children. Lot, when he came out of Sodom and Gomorrah, when the angels came and took them, he had two children by his daughters. His daughters said, there's nobody to marry us, so let's make our father drunk and let's go in unto him and let's have children by him. And they did, and they had Moab and they had Ammon, and they became two countries. And this one is the burden of Moab, that country. And it's talking about what happened to this country because of all that was happening there. Remember, it said, howl, O gate, cry, O city, thou whole Palestina art dissolved. Talked about the land of Palestine. And Moab is on the other side of Jordan, on the other side of the Red Sea. So it's part of that whole area there. And it's talking about Moab is laid waste and brought to silence, because in the night Kir of Moab is laid waste and brought to silence. So they're being destroyed, and it seems that they're being destroyed by the Assyrians. He has gone up to Bajith and to Dibon, the high places, to weep. Moab shall howl over Nebo and over Medeba. On all their heads shall be baldness, and every beard cut off. In their streets they shall gird themselves with sackcloth, on the tops of their houses and in their streets. Every one shall howl, weeping abundantly. And Heshbon shall cry, and Elilah, their voice shall be heard even unto Jahaz. Therefore the armed soldiers of Moab shall cry out, his life shall be grievous unto him. So the soldiers were not going to be victorious. They were going to maybe try to protect their land of Moab, but it wasn't going to work. They shall cry out, his life shall be grievous unto him, any soldier. My heart shall cry out for Moab. His fugitives shall flee unto Zoar, an heifer of 3 years old. So at the bottom of Moab's country was this town called Zoar. And if you remember in Genesis, Zoar was the little place that Lot asked, could they go to instead of going to the mountains? Could they go to that little, he called it just a little city, Zoar. So Zoar was down there at the bottom of the Red Sea, and it was not the Red Sea, the Dead Sea, bottom of the Dead Sea, and it was not destroyed because the angel took Lot into that little city called Zoar. And so when my heart shall cry out for Moab, his fugitives shall flee unto Zoar. That's right south of Moab. And they would go there. For by the mounting up of Luhith with weeping shall they go it up. For in the way of Horonaim they shall raise up a cry of destruction. So all I know about these places that are mentioned, or some of them are, I think they're all mentioned cities of Moab, to show that the whole place was being destroyed. For the waters of Nimrim shall be desolate, for the hay is withered away, the grass faileth, there is no green thing. Therefore the abundance they have gotten, and that which they have laid up, shall they carry away to the brook of the willows. For the cry is gone round about the borders of Moab, the howling thereof unto Eglaim, and the howling thereof unto Beer Elim. And for the waters of Dimon shall be full of blood, for I will bring more upon Dimon, lions upon him that escapeth of Moab, and upon the remnant of the land. So God was prophesying through Isaiah what was going to happen to Moab. It was not going to be, they were not going to be blessed. There's a few references in this, and let's kind of go through some of them and see if we can put anything else in this that we don't know. If you remember that Moab also was the land that Ruth came from. That's when we read the book of Ruth, we find that that's where they went. Let's go back to Ruth. Ruth went, it says, now it came to pass in the days when the judges ruled, and there was a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. So they went to Moab, Elimelech and Mahlon and Chilion and Naomi. And that's where they met Ruth, because she was a woman of Moab. So they came into the country of Moab and continued there. So we know that that's where Ruth came from. And let's look in Jeremiah 48:1. It's a reference about Moab. Jeremiah 48:1 says, thus against Moab, thus hath the Lord God of hosts, the God of Israel, woe unto Nebo, for he is spoiled. Kirithaim is confounded and taken. Misgab is confounded and dismayed. So it goes on to say almost the same kind of prophecy against Moab, that all that was Moab was going to be destroyed, and they were not going to escape. And for the waters of Dimon, this is the last verse, shall be full of blood, for I'll bring more upon Dimon, lions upon him that escapeth of Moab, and upon the remnant of the land. So it's a prophecy against them and how bad it was from what happened to them. Now let's go ahead and go on into 16, because it's also going to talk about Moab. It says, send ye the lamb to the ruler of the land, from Selah to the wilderness, unto the mount of the daughter of Zion. What must this be talking about? In 2 Kings 3 and 4. Let's look there. Some of this in Isaiah, when I look it up and try to see if anybody knows what it's really referring to, it's not clear. It's not clear. And so even in history it hasn't been clear. Send ye the lamb to the ruler of the land, from Selah to the wilderness, and to the mount of the daughter of Zion. And it says, as a reference, 2 Kings 3 and 4. Nevertheless he cleaved, 2 Kings 3 and 4. And Mesha, king of Moab, was a sheep master, and rendered unto the king of Israel 100,000 lambs and 100,000 rams with wool. And it came to pass, when Ahab was dead, that the king of Moab rebelled against the king of Israel. So Moab and Israel were not people that got along. They did not. And when it says, send ye the lamb to the ruler of the land, from Selah to the wilderness unto the mount of the daughter of Zion, for it shall be that as a wandering bird cast out of the nest, so the daughters of Moab shall be at the fords of Arnon. Take counsel, execute judgment, make thy shadow as the night in the midst of the noonday, hide the outcast, bewray not him that wandereth. Let mine outcast dwell with thee, Moab. Be thou a covert to them from the face of the spoiler, for the extortioner is at an end, the spoiler ceaseth, the oppressors are consumed out of the land. And in mercy shall the throne be established, and he shall sit upon it in truth in the tabernacle of David, judging and seeking judgment and hasting righteousness. So again, there's Isaiah. He's talking about the Lamb. Send ye to the Lamb, to the ruler of the land. And sure enough, Jesus Christ stood before the ruler of the land, didn't he? He stood before Herod. And that's in verse 1. And then in verse 5, it seems that it's speaking again of Christ. And in mercy shall the throne be established, and he shall sit upon it in truth in the tabernacle of David, judging and seeking judgment and hasting righteousness. You know, that's the thing we keep finding out about in Isaiah. It's almost like the prophecy of Christ kind of intersperses itself in with these things like the burden of Moab and other things that he's talking about as he goes gives prophecies against this kingdom and that kingdom and tells what's going to happen with them. Here comes the prophecy of Christ right in the middle of it. It's almost like that Isaiah his visions are going in and out, and far out, all the way to not just what was happening and what was going to happen in the near future, but what was going to happen when Christ came. And verse 5 says, and in mercy shall the throne be established, and he shall sit upon it in truth in the tabernacle of David, judging and seeking judgment and hasting righteousness. That's about Jesus. Verse 6, we have heard of the pride of Moab. He is very proud, even of his haughtiness and his pride and his wrath. But his lies shall not be so. Therefore shall Moab howl for Moab, every one shall howl. For the foundations of Kir Hareseth shall ye mourn. Surely they are stricken. So again, it's telling of the sadness and the sorrow of what happens to Moab. For the fields of Heshbon languish, and the vine of Sibmah. The lords of the heathen have broken down the principal plants thereof. They are come even unto Jazer. They wandered through the wilderness. Her branches are stretched out. They are gone over the sea. Therefore I will bewail with the weeping of Jazer, the vine of Sibmah. I will water thee with my tears, O Heshbon and Elilah, for the shouting for thy summer fruits, and for thy harvest is fallen. Did you know that when I started sharing the Bible, I said that I'm going to share what I know? Well, lots of this I do not know. I do not know all about Heshbon and Elilah and Sibmah and Jazer. It seems that they are towns or cities in Moab and that are being destroyed, and they're weeping and not having any harvest, for thy harvest is fallen. 10, and gladness is taken away, and joy out of the plentiful field. And in the vineyards there shall be no singing, neither shall there be shouting. The treaders shall tread out no wine in their presses. I have made their vintage shouting to cease. Wherefore my bowels shall sound like an harp for Moab, and mine inward parts for Kir-Haresh. It shall come to pass, when it is seen that Moab is weary on the high place, that he shall come to his sanctuary to pray, but he shall not prevail. This is the word the Lord has spoken concerning Moab since that time. But now the Lord has spoken, saying, within 3 years, as the years of an hireling, and the glory of Moab shall be contemned with all that great multitude, and the remnant shall be very small and feeble. So the prophecy is from Isaiah that Moab was going to fall, and I assume it's going to fall to the Assyrians, because that was the country that was threatening every country around in that place. And it says, this is the word that the Lord has spoken concerning Moab since that time. When it says in verse 12, and it shall come to pass when it is seen that Moab is weary on the high place, that he shall come to his sanctuary to pray, but he shall not prevail. It seems like they even maybe are looking to not their God, but looking to the real God, and come to his sanctuary, come to Israel, where there is a temple. Seeing that Moab is weary on the high place, can't get through to their God, that he shall come to his sanctuary to pray, but he shall not prevail. So even if they turn to God, they still are not being helped. Now, I'm not sure that's what that means, but it sounds like it is, that they might even turn to talk to the true and the living God, but not prevail. You know, I wonder sometimes about the people that serve idol gods, if something inside of them really knows that they're not really talking to the real God, and that they turn to the real God and try to talk to him, try to get help from him. But the real God, if he's prophesied that they were going to be destroyed, they are going to be destroyed. And so that's probably why he shall not prevail. And they will have to, if they come to the real God, they will have to be willing to give up their old gods, give up the fake gods and the false gods. And maybe that's why they couldn't prevail too. You know, when Jonah prophesied to Nineveh, they had false gods, but they got down in sackcloth and ashes and didn't eat and fasted. Even the beast fasted, and God heard them when they fasted for his help and prayed for his help. And they prevailed. They prevailed because they didn't lean on their other gods or just try to put him together with their other gods. Moab had the god Chemosh, and it talks about Chemosh in the Bible, and Chemosh was who they believed was their god. But even in them believing in a fake god, one that wasn't God, it seems that there is an understanding in all of us that there is a real, true, and living God, and that he will hear us and answer our prayers if we will pray in spirit and in truth. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there, and the end of 16 says, and the glory of Moab shall be contemned with all that great multitude, and the remnant shall be very small and feeble. So he was decimating that country down to just the poor of the land. He did that to Judah, and he's prophesying it'll be done to Moab. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow, and we'll do chapter 17. God bless you.